This is episode 3 of Sexuality and the Soul series, where we address being in your head during intimacy. And this means you're never fully there. You are present in the body, but somewhere above it all at the same time, watching, monitoring, and questioning yourself, unable to just feel what's happening because your mind won't be quiet. Your thoughts are jumping all over the place. And many of us, that didn't start in the bedroom. It started long before. It was programmed long before, from the time we were young. If you're deeply religious, or even religious on the surface, I'm pretty sure your body tightens when talks come up about sex, especially if you're not married. It was never a casual conversation for the majority, but spoken lightly or not at all. Because some of us were taught from a very young age that it was considered impure to pleasure yourself or have sex if you were not married. And if it's not pure, we were programmed to believe that it's not of God. I cannot speak on all religions, but growing up Catholic, my grandmother was very vocal about abstaining from sex as a young adult. Growing up, the talk really was people only have sex in marriages. And even in that, when it was talked about, it wasn't spoken about the enjoyment of the experience or exploring the body. It was more about married people having sex to have babies, not the pleasure of the sexual experience. And that way of thinking, I'm sure, stayed with a lot of us through the years. So for others who had similar conversations or a lack of conversation about sex, it stayed in your thoughts. And what stay in your thoughts stays in your body. And into the quiet moments where you're supposed to embrace the feelings your body was giving off, you couldn't, because that program of not being pure was in your head. It never associated God with sex, but God is the one who created us. So that small voice within was already telling you that this is wrong, this is not pure, this is not godly. And then your body reacts to every single thing that your head is saying, because your body listens. Your body picks up everything the mind is carrying and responds accordingly. We are of mind, body, and soul, so nothing is hidden. Whatever we have in our thoughts, in our mind, it's an open secret to our body. And the body reacts. It reacts to what it has been taught through the nervous system. And if your body tightens, then you know it's off. Because the natural way is openness, is not clenching. If you're clenching, that's a sure sign of letting you know, you're off. If you're drifting away while you're in a physical spot or, wherever you are, if you're not being present, then that's another sign of you being off. If you're constantly monitoring things that you do or see, instead of simply being present, again, that's a sign that you're separating yourself from who you are, the truth of who you are. And so intimacy became something you approach already divided, which means one part of you wanting to be fully there and the other part of you is outside of it. You're watching, you're questioning whether you're even allowed to be in this moment at all. Speaking from experience, and as you know, everything that I say is from experience, intimacy was one of the things in my head I truly enjoyed, but I was never fully in it, because the moment I was involved in my experience, in the sex, in the enjoyment, my thoughts took over. Am I enough? Does this look right? Is this okay with God? Should I even be here? And on my thoughts would go in my head, losing the opportunity of being present. That voice in your head, the one that has been monitoring you since even before you understood what it was doing, that's not God. It's not God. You were programmed to believe it was God questioning you. But God is not a critic in your head. God is not a tightening in your body. And God is not that voice that turns pleasure into something to confess. That same God that created your body created it to feel. Not to perform, and definitely not to be monitored. The body was never meant to be assessed against a standard of purity. It was never really about God at all. It was about control. A body that is ashamed of itself is a body that is easy to manage. And you have been managing yourself for a very long time, and that is not natural. It is something that I have done for over 40 years. So I know what I'm talking about when I tell you I was constantly checking on myself, especially when it came to the bedroom or being intimate with myself or someone else. It was how I was programmed from in the beginning. But underneath it all, underneath the pretense and the performance, there's also a voice calling to be heard and not silenced. A voice of truth, a voice of love, and a voice of expression. We are not bringing God into our sexual experiences. He never left. He's always there. We've been ignoring that part of Him when we pleasure ourselves alone with our partner. But He's always with us. His love for us is beyond our own imagination, and being pure took away that joy of the divine. We were never separate from His presence. So when they said pure to us, we thought that the enjoyment of sex doesn't go together. Love has no barriers. God has no barriers. He is there in the good, the bad, and the ugly. The natural feelings rising within your body are all part of our creation. God does not sit outside while we pleasure ourselves and then step back in when we're done. It doesn't work that way. Hard to believe when you grew up in a world telling you otherwise, but it is true. Our human experience was meant to take joy in all the good that there is. You were never broken. You are whole without even trying. But somewhere on this path, we were taught we lacked in different areas of our lives. And this was never true. The more you dive into the being that you are, is the more the truth unfolds. When we think differently to the truth of who we are, we separate ourselves from the true essence of our souls. And we create stories in ourselves that leaves us questioning everything. And God, not the God that they spoke of that made you feel ashamed, but God, divine love and intelligence, was never separate from your body. The Holy Spirit was never standing outside of your intimacy wagging a finger at you. We are spirit, our truth, and love. Sex in a marriage is not just your body expressing itself. It's more than that. It's the body's sensations are natural. To pleasure yourself or to have a consenting sexual experience with an adult is enjoyment. It's exploration. It is embodying what God has created for us. And it's okay to fall in love with that without judgment. Life is God, and no part of our life is removed from Him. In every breath we take, whether we are, whatever activities we're doing, be it sex, at the gym, at the movies, in prayer, walking, talking, having a glass of wine, God is there with us. So when you're being intimate and your head starts its questioning, making up stories, remember this. Your body was created to feel. Your job is not to monitor your feelings. People talk a lot about when trying to tell you who you are, and they misrepresent the truth. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. I'm sure you heard that before, and it's true. We are love. And the truth is we are here to enjoy this experience, to enjoy who we are, to allow the truth to stand without second guessing. We are whole. We were never broken and never missing anything. And your body's urges and sensations were not something we created. The only thing that is impure is the thought that we are. Love your body. Love the ones that are connected to you or not connected to you. Be present and in the moment.